Before we start our next segment with Mr. Shapiro, I want to not do our civics lesson over, but give you a couple terms that are going to show up. Terms I think you've heard before, but with a little bit of background, I think will make the next interview a little more interesting for you. One term that you've heard quite a bit is the term filibuster. And I think most of us, when we hear the term filibuster, we think of this unending debate. But my interpretation of what I always thought as a filibuster is basically anything that ties into this notion of the deliberative process and to slow things down. So it's not always unlimited debate. Sometimes it's a series of procedural motions that are all designed to just slow the system down and keep it open and deliberative. So one is filibuster. The second one is holds. Holds. Now holds are not talked about that often, but they are, to me, a very sinister tool that is developed in the Senate. And again, Mr. Shapiro is going to reflect on the history of this and how we got there. But in the U.S. Senate, most people don't realize almost any one senator can put what's known as a hold on a bill or a motion or a topic. And once a senator puts a hold on that, it's almost impossible to stop it. So we have a system where literally one senator alone can bring the whole Senate to a halt. Again, we're going to talk about holds. And then finally, cloture or cloture. I'm sure I'm saying the word wrong. But cloture is actually the procedural aspect of stopping the filibusters. Cloture is bringing a close to this deliberative process so that the Senate can move on with its business. Cloture takes an extraordinary vote, or not in all cases anymore. We've talked about it in some shows, but cloture usually takes an extraordinary vote of 3/5 in order to stop the filibuster, stop the extended debate, stop the deliberative process. So the third term we want you to be familiar with for purposes of the next segment is cloture.